I'd just like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the lands where we gather, even as we do so electronically in various locations, and pay respect to elders past, present and emerging, and acknowledge the important roles of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples within the outdoor recreation community across Queensland and also across the country, and welcome any First Nations people who may be joining us today. CORF also acknowledges the support provided to CORF and the entire outdoor sector across our state by the Queensland Government. So, yeah, moving right along, welcome to another session of Coffee and Conversation. My name's Dom Courtney. I'm the Executive Officer of CORF, Queensland Outdoor Recreation Federation, and I actually joined the Outdoors New South Wales and ACT session earlier today, and I realised Maury starts her session by actually saying what Outdoors New South Wales and ACT is and does, and I never do that. I don't know if I need to, but I should just say we're the peak body for outdoor activities across the state, and we're here to serve the outdoor industry and basically help to make sure that outdoor activities are considered and done in an appropriate and responsible manner. Mark Squires, our partnerships manager, is also joining me. I don't think Hugh Battine's with us today, and I'm not sure if Angela from Nature Play, our Nature Play Queensland program manager, are with us, but we'll welcome all members of CORF, CORF's board, and also life members of the organisation, all members of CORF, and any others who are joining us, including from any interstate organisations who are with us today. Yeah, just a reminder too, as I say most weeks, just don't forget about our e-news subscriptions. There's a whole lot of great information on those e-news. Even if you're already subscribed, feel free to let other people know about those subscriptions. A bit of an agenda for today. We've got a few things on there, similar to what we had last week. Particularly wanted to have a quick chat about the Queensland's blue card system, because there's been some changes to that. They've been coming for a long time, but they've just sent some more information out about that this week, and they'll come in at the end of August. So it is important to know about that. There are particularly changes regarding paid employees and working with children. So we'll talk about that and a few other things. If anyone else has any topics that you want to speak about, please put it in the chat or let me know. Happy to add to this as we go along. Happy to allow others to have a chat as we go. That's what this is about. It's not just about me speaking, as much as I love speaking, but you might get sick of my jokes. So I'm happy for others to sub in. And also, I just wanted to say also that just a reminder on our web resources on our web pages. Mark does a lot of work to keep those resources up to date, and I know they're appreciated, but I just wanted to put a plug out there to say if you do need some information, please have a look at our website. There's oodles, I think is the correct term, is the technical term of information on that website for your viewing pleasure. So please have a look at our website, but also contact us if you have any queries. I'm just showing off a bit here. I completed the AQIA training on COVID safe return to play guide this week, and it's there's also free TAFE training out there, which is quite generic. But this training that Active Queenslanders Industry Alliance, I'm on the board of that organisation, so I might be slightly biased, but the training is really good. I did the session this week. I finally found time or made time to do it. I'd highly recommend it. It says in the training allow about half an hour. It's a half an hour really well spent as far as knowledge and understanding of the return to play guide and the COVID-19 situation. And it's tailored to sport, fitness and recreation industries, so in Queensland. So it really is very relevant, and I'd recommend have a look at that training. There's a link there on the screen to there, and we've also got some information on our website about it. That training's also referenced in our industry plans. So I would strongly recommend jumping on and doing that training. It's an important part of being COVID safe and ready to do that. They recommend at least one person from each organisation do it. But my take on it is it's free and it wouldn't hurt for everyone on your staff to do it. So I think it's a really good opportunity as far as giving people some specific training that's actually been designed for our industry at this moment in Queensland. So it's a really good opportunity to have a look at that. And I, as I say, I can't promote it too much. It's really valuable. So I just wanted to put that out there. Mark's just shared the link there on the in the chat as well. So thanks. Oh, I just saw Hugh is with us. So good day, Hugh. As I said just a moment ago, the blue card laws are changing. So I just wanted to flag that with you. The blue card system, they've been sending out some emails this week, and these new laws take effect from the 31st of August, which is a Monday. The key change in there is the no card, no start process for paid employees. So in the past, we've been able to have paid employees, if you lodge an application while your blue card is pending, they could start work. Under the new system, it's not. If you don't have your card, you cannot start working with children. And the other thing, which I think is very important, even if a staff member has a blue card and they're going to start work for you, you need to have linked that card to your organisation so that you get any notifications before they start work. It's not good enough to do that when you process your first pay or anything like that. It needs to be before they start working with children. So they could start working in your organisation technically, as long as they're not engaged in activities with children. But to be on the safe side, I would suggest have that. If someone's got an existing blue card as a paid employee, have them linked, get on the online portal and do it before they even start their first session with any kids. They're really important changes, and I'd really strongly encourage you to jump on and understand what those changes are all about. Their website is not the greatest website I've ever seen, which might surprise some people that a government website isn't awesome, but mightn't surprise others. So yeah, it's really important, but to get in, have a look. Basically the same system now applies to volunteers as well as paid employees, but it's a bit of a new one for paid employees. And the other one is too that in the past there's been exempt people like teachers and also police officers didn't need a blue card. They were just considered exempt. They've changed that. This is coming out of the Royal Commission into child abuse, sexual abuse. So some of these changes, they're really important, but what they're saying now is police and teachers also need blue cards, and they have to reapply every 3 years for a blue card. So they are important, which will make some people might, I don't want it to catch anyone on the hop, so I just wanted to flag it today. We might see if we can get someone from the blue card system to speak about this in the next few weeks in one of these sessions. But I guess the question is, would people actually be interested in that if we do try to line that up? Happy if you want to put comments in the chat, or if you want to speak about, if anyone wants to speak about that, happy to hear about it. I just see, I think Pete is Outhouse Orator. So now it'll be like WA for teachers. What does that mean, Pete? Do you want to explain that more?
So in WA, I've worked in WA a bit, and I'm a teacher. And previously in WA, you had to, as a teacher, you didn't have the exemption. You had to get a fully blown blue card. So I'm just saying that Queensland is now like WA in that regard.
Yeah, thanks, Pete. Yeah, I think they're trying to get it more consistent nationally, because each state's been quite different over time. So I just saw a couple more comments there. Gil and also Tanya, would be great to hear more about it. So there is an online system at the moment, Tanya. They keep saying they're going to improve their online system, but I've been told that at the moment, the online system does about 80% of the thing, then for some reason you've got to print out your form, sign it, and then submit it, which does not make sense. So I believe they're trying to fix their online system. That's part of it. There's also responsibility for the systems being moved between different government departments to try to streamline some of it. So I believe they're working on it, and there's a whole lot involved in it. But yeah, we'll see what we can do to line up someone to come and speak on it for, say, 10 or 15 minutes in one of these sessions, because I think it's a big enough topic that we need to get our heads around it. And at the moment, while we're all pushing to deal with everything to do with COVID-19, we can't let things like this slip through unnoticed. So I'll just make a note of that, and we'll follow up on that one and see if we can get something sorted in the next few weeks. I saw Tanya's, I hope they process applications faster. Yes, that's an interesting piece too, Tanya. So, and Kelly's certainly agreed on that one. So yeah, I'm glad everyone's keen on that one, because I thought it was too important to let it go past without a mention. So thank you for those comments. So just, this is a reminder on the small business adaptation grants. The Southeast Queensland phase of this, so they've allocated, Queensland government's allocated 50% of the funding, so 50 million to Southeast Queensland businesses and 50 million to regional businesses or outside SEQ. The SEQ phase of it is closed. They must have received enough applications, but the regional businesses section is still open. So it's an opportunity for between $2,000 and $10,000 per business, and all the eligibility criteria are on their website. So I'd strongly encourage people to jump in and apply for this funding if possible. So Tanya's just put a note saying, told the industry is not a priority area. Oh, that's the first I've heard that. And I know, we had Dave from Paramount saying that he got it in round 1. He's in Gold Coast, and Toowoomba is considered Southeast Queensland. Yeah, I saw that on their list, and it's a weird thing. Toowoomba sometimes gets regional status and sometimes is SEQ, depending on where someone draws a line sometimes, I think. But oh, that's disappointing, Tanya. I'd still say if you're in regional Queensland, have a crack at it, see, because they're certainly not oversubscribed on the regional Queensland. I think Dave from Paramount made a point of saying the money that he got out of it was well worthwhile. So I think it's worth having a crack at it for businesses that are keen to do that. I just saw Andrew's comment about the 3-month lag time is difficult when trying to restock with employees after COVID. Yeah, and I completely agree on that one too. So that's where it's so important that we're on top of the blue card system stuff. So we'll certainly do a bit more work on that. This other one is just launched yesterday, the Active Restart Infrastructure Recovery Fund. It's aimed specifically at clubs, so non-profit organisations. The government, so the other thing, the Fair Play vouchers are currently open. I downloaded this slide off their website yesterday. So the Active Restart scheme, it's about minor upgrades, repair and maintenance, purchasing equipment and tools to support clubs in getting people out, getting people active. So it's not just about sport. It's written sport heavy, if that's a word, but it's actually about anyone in outdoor recreation as well. So I'd really encourage you to have a look at that if you're involved in a club. It doesn't apply to state level organisations. So, the likes of Corf or Paddle Queensland couldn't apply to it, but the clubs, so mountain bike clubs or paddling clubs could apply for it, or other organisations. So I'd recommend the clubs have a look at that and put their hand up for some of that money that's been allocated to it. And it seems to be quite open what the money can be spent on. So yeah, just a suggestion. I did want to run a quick poll here. This is about, I forgot to that one. I just wanted to run a poll on the grant funding information that I keep rabbiting on about. I just wanted to ask the question, are you more likely to apply for grant funding, or have you already done that as a result of hearing about grant opportunities during these sessions? So that's the question. Yes, no, or it's just not relevant to me because I don't need free money from the government or elsewhere, which is awesome if you don't need it. But yeah, I just wanted to ask the question just to see, basically, as a bit of an update for us on what we're doing as far as, you know, am I wasting your time by speaking about some of these opportunities? But a part of it for me is just trying to, you know, if there's opportunities there to get some money, then I'd like to encourage people or make sure people know about them. Kelly's just said, can you add something on the restart? Yeah, go for your life, Kelly. You're on mute at the moment. Still haven't got you, Kelly. I saw you turn mute off. Your microphone's...
Can you hear me now? Okay. Anyone that's around the border areas, now that the border has opened, New South Wales will also have those restart vouchers that we can use over the border as well. Because New South Wales Sport and Rec had discussions with me about that and having those activities that are close to the borders for those New South Wales kids that can come over as well.
Yeah, and that's a good point, because I think the New South Wales, they have a reciprocal arrangement for people living close to the borders, where the borders can be crossed, that they will honour each other's programs, even if a business isn't located in the state. So yeah, that's a good point. So have a look at the New South Wales ones as well, which I don't usually promote because I'm not on their mailing list, but yeah. So thank you for that, Kelly. It's a really good point. There's a couple of comments there. I'll just share the results of that, the poll. So yeah, more people have said yes. A few of them have said not relevant, and a couple have said no. So yeah, it's good to know that some people are getting benefit from those grants. So thank you for that. And just in going over to the comments, Melanie said, have applied for 2 grants from New South Wales Government, received payment of 10 grand and 3 grand. That's great. Good to see. Matthew's made a point saying he's not eligible for small business grants as they're in the 2nd year of incorporation and none of the grants support them, which is very disappointing, and certainly something that we need to try to encourage some change in that space. Gil just made a point there saying no, because getting great information through the grants officer, but Scouts groups have been successful in the 1st round. So yeah, that's really good news to hear, because we want to make sure that that money is coming out to the people who are doing the really good work across the sector. So yeah, that's good to hear. Just wanted to give Pete or David a chance to have a chat about the world of inside the outhouse. Not that we want to necessarily plunge deep into the depths of the outhouse, but I'd like to just give you a chance, Pete, to have a chat about what's coming up after you were closed for maintenance this week.
No worries, Dom. Thanks for the opportunity. Very exciting week in the outhouse this week with Fed Hekaroff from Caldera Dynamics coming in, talking not only about cleaning, disinfecting of ropes, hardware and harnesses and helmets, which there's been a lot of interest in the outhouse and in this forum, but also talking about ropes courses and how we're going to run ropes courses in a post-COVID world. So tune in 4:17 Eastern Daylight Time, Monday afternoon. Thanks.
Terrific. Thanks, Pete. Yeah, I didn't actually get the full description there on the slide, but yeah, I again encourage people to join those sessions there. There's plenty of information in those sessions that are really beneficial. So everyone's had their break this week from while it was closed for maintenance, and yeah, encourage everyone to join next Monday if you're available and you get a chance. So thank you, mate. I just wanted a quick reminder, Dot Foley from the University of Canberra spoke to us last week about the research project she's doing. So I just wanted to remind everyone about that one. So the survey's open, and it's all about the future of the Australian outdoor industry as a whole, not just about outdoor education. So she's looking for people to complete that survey, as many people as possible. So there's a story on our website about it, but also there's a link there to the survey and a bit more information on it. So yeah, just wanted to remind everyone about that one. I saw David shared the link to the Inside the Outhouse. Thanks, David. I'm going to do another shameless plug for Outdoors Queensland Awards. I've decided a bit of yellow highlighting will probably make you everyone sit up and go, oh, there's an award in that category that I can nominate someone awesome for. So we've got 8 different categories. We're still working on how we're going to deliver a celebration of these awards. It's a bit of a strange year to have a formal dinner together, but we'll work something out. We're working on that at the moment. But we will definitely be acknowledging the awesome things that are done outdoors, whether it's, you know, not necessarily the last few months, but some people have been doing great things even in that time. But what's been happening over the last year or further back, some of these awards aren't just for what's happened in the last year or while the nominations have been open. They can be, you know, the outstanding achievement is often for things that have happened over many years. So please put your thinking caps on and have a look at who you might be able to nominate. You can nominate yourself, and you can also nominate a friend or even an enemy if you think they're doing good things. But yeah, just wanted to put that up there and let you know. So nominations are open right now. There's a heap of information on our website about it. The nomination process should not be daunting. It's you don't have to write War and Peace. In fact, I'm not a judge, but I tend to read the applications, and the judges do like short, succinct nominations that have all the necessary information. So yeah, I'd really recommend putting in nominations for those ones. Even if you know of an organisation that's been doing good things, there's the government achievement one. If you know of your local government or a government department that's been doing good things for the outdoors, consider that. The Young Achiever category, I'd find it hard to believe there aren't really good nominees for that one. So I'd like to see more on that one. The outdoor event could be a little bit tricky in the last few months, but there's certainly been some events since last year that were very successful. So there's all these categories that I think we need to think about them and really get on there. I don't know, Mark, if you wanted to say anything more about the nomination process or the system there or the awards.
No, other than to add just to what you're saying, it's a fairly straightforward process. There's an online form. There's about 3 sections to fill out, plus your contact details, and that's really about it. We do ask that you inform your nominee that they have been nominated. We've had a couple of surprises in the past where people really just didn't know. But no, it's a straightforward process. But can I also add too, the Young Achiever Award is not just necessary for a young person. It's for somebody who's potentially just arrived in the industry, arrived in the sector, or somebody who is, you know, coming from another industry and moving into outdoor education or outdoor recreation. But yeah, otherwise, I just encourage you to go and do it. You know, the more people that nominate, the more that we acknowledge and the more that we can celebrate the great stuff that we're all trying to do here.
Thanks, Mark.
Cheers.
Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe it should be the New Achiever Award, but yeah, that one's a traditional. It's had the Young Achiever name, I think, for quite a while now. So yeah, just a reminder, and I'll probably remind you of that again at the end of the session. So we'll keep on moving along. Thanks, Mike. Over to the good old COVID world again. So we've spoken most weeks about the COVID safe business framework. And when it says business, this also means organisations. So the government has used the term business, the Queensland government, but it applies just as much to organisations, whether that's a predominantly volunteer-led organisation or completely volunteer-led organisation, it doesn't matter. So this is all about how we operate in a COVID-19 environment. So it's important to be aware of this information that's on the COVID Safe Business Framework. And also this one's about the compliance overview, which is also, it's part of the same document. I just separated it to make it a bit clearer. So, and this one is the one there where it talks about the workplace health and safety obligations, the COVID Safe checklist, and then the COVID Safe industry plans. So that sort of leads straight into, I guess, what we've spoken about for the last few weeks. I actually had to look at some stats this week to put a report into government for about QORF's operations for the first 6 months of this year. We give them a 6-monthly report. And I went back to look when did we hold the sessions with the industry, when we developed the industry, when we started on the industry plan. And in my mind, I felt that it was about April or May, but it turns out it was the 1st of June, which shows how time has morphed in the last little while. So it was only 5 or 6 weeks ago, but it seems an age. So our plans, the outdoor plans, are approved by Chief Health Officer. The statement of compliance, I haven't updated that. They've actually released, I think it's a slightly different version of the statement of compliance. So you might want to have a look at that. Just check that. I have a feeling they've changed it a little bit since then, but it probably doesn't matter if you're using that one if you signed that 2 or 3 weeks ago. But if anyone hasn't done it yet, make sure you get the statement of compliance from the government website. And it's important to print that out, sign it, and display it at your venue or when you're operating. So that's just one of the elements you need to do. As I've said before, you don't need to submit your plan to QORF or to a government agency for approval. It's an internal document, just like your workplace health and safety plan was in January. It's the same thing. It's just an updated plan, an operational plan that is an internal document. So that's what that's about. But there is some more. There's plenty of information on this on our website, and also some opportunities. If you have any real queries about the technical details of the industry plans, you can contact us. But also there's the Sport and Rec have an email address, which is sr_COVID, I think it's COVID-19 at npsr.gov. qld.gov.au. So we might share that too. I think it's on another one of these slides. So yeah, it's important to just send your queries through to them as well if they are serious ones that need an answer from the government. I was actually in the outdoors, pardon me, in the Outdoors New South Wales and ACT session earlier, where Laurie said that down there they're looking at actually following the Queensland lead and putting together industry plans for the outdoor industry in New South Wales and seeking to have them approved by New South Wales Health, which will then help them to get back to work, particularly in the outdoor ed space. So they're seeing what the Queensland government's done, and the Chief Health Officer has the system they've put in place as the practice that's going to actually help them actually get back to work sooner. So it does show it's been very complicated, and it's certainly still a moving feast. But yeah, I think it does show a bit of it's a bit of a pat on the back, I guess, for some of the work that we've done. So yeah, it's good to see. But as I've put here again, the plans have been approved, but they're also being updated again. So I put that up last week, and it's the same situation this week. So there's a few changes there, again, taking into account some of the stuff around event arrangements, and we'll get to that on the next slide, but also just some small details that we need to make sure are right. And there was 1 or 2 little errors in it, which came about partly, and I've put my hand up, a couple of things that we missed in the redrafting between one version to another, where we had some inconsistent terminology. So we're seeking to have that clarified and fixed as well. So just looking at the comments, yeah, Belinda's just flagged the new statement is different in the wording for the statement of compliance. Yeah, so if you haven't, I think it's probably worth downloading it and printing it out again, but it's just a matter of that. Mark shared the link there to the statement of compliance. And Andrew's comment, the Education Department has said no camps for state schools in New South Wales for all of term 3. Yeah, they've told, Laurie was speaking about that earlier today in her session, and they've said they'll review that in term 3. So that they've said school camps won't come back at the moment until term 4, which is a pretty awful time to come back, considering what, you know, the busyness of term 4 normally, but they have said they'll review it during term 3. So I think their term 3 starts next week. So I don't know if they'll be reviewing it straight away, but Laurie's certainly pushing for that down there in New South Wales. In our world, again, as soon as these plans are updated, we'll let you know. If anyone has any queries about the outdoor plans or comments, happy to open up for that. We've got plenty of time. That's what we're here for. I think these are still a key document that people need to get their heads around. If anyone wants to fire away. No? Wow. First time ever there's no questions on an industry plan. Either you guys know everything about them or you're just sick of talking about them. I'm not sure which one it is. Maybe we're all sick of hearing about industry plans and we just want to get back to work. I guess one of my questions would be if anyone on the call has actually run camps this week particularly and has been using the industry plans, if there's any feedback on how it all went. I think last week we had some feedback from, I think it was Tanya said some small groups that they did run, but if anyone else has had experiences, or if Tanya, if you want to speak to that, probably up to you as far as if anyone wants to comment on that one. There's comment from, sorry.
Well, Dom, I could make a couple of comments. I led a couple of trips for a university, the University of the Sunshine Coast over the last couple of weeks.
Yep.
We practiced physical distancing. All of the students carried their own tent, and all of the students cooked on a stove, which if they were sharing, they could only boil water. So they couldn't actually cook in the stove. Each group carried a 75% sort of squeeze bottle of, sanitizing product, and each person was issued with a chucks, and we were wiping public surfaces as well as carrying massive amounts of hand sanitizer. That was the plan. You could talk for long and hard about whether it theoretically all panned out like that, but that was the intention. And it was very small groups. Like my largest group was 8 students. Anyway, if that helps anyone, I did that.
Thanks, Pete. So how did they go with the boiling water? I've heard kids these days can't even do that. Is that untrue?
No. I mean, there was some very innovative cooking. Most students ate, backcountry cuisine or kind of that type of meal where they boiled water and poured into a bag. But then at the other end of the spectrum, some students are making meals from scratch and choosing to carry sort of, their own stoves so that they, so it's full spectrum. A lot of students have gone out and purchased their own gear. So as I said, it's the full range of experience levels.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Thanks, Pete. I just saw some comments there. Danny and Benoni, just from Alex Park, have just said teachers are struggling to understand why group numbers are restricted. Well, the answer to that is that's what the Chief Health Officer directed. So that's the condition that we've got from the Chief Health Officer. So we, that's the short answer on that one. They're restricted because that's the industry plan that we're working to. And I understand it's making things difficult, but we're better off having the restrictions, the relaxation on the 4 square metres rules where people wouldn't be able to operate. That's just the condition that we've got. But yeah, that's I guess the answer we have on that is they're restricted because we're complying with the directions from the Chief Health Officer. Just a question on, there was also a question that has been sent through to me privately. The question about the industry plans. Originally, the government said it's up to every operator to decide whether to opt into the industry plans. They've changed their messaging a bit on that, and they've almost now said it's up to you to opt in, and if you don't opt in, you virtually can't operate. So it's actually pretty much mandatory now without it saying mandatory. It says on their website now, if there's an industry plan for your industry or your segment, the segment of your industry where you operate, you should opt into that. Under the roadmap, if you don't, it's a little bit confusing. It appears you could operate with up to 50 clients at a time. But even that, if you look at the government website, it says if there's an industry plan, you should use it. So they're very much pushing people to comply with the industry plans, because then they've got everyone working on the same page, I suppose, and the same conditions are imposed for everyone. And one of the big concerns I have is if we have one outbreak at one outdoor centre that's chosen not to operate on the industry plan, it's still going to come back on the whole industry. So I think that's a major concern, as far as, even if you look at New South Wales with that Crossroads Hotel down there in Western Sydney, the day after that broke, the pubs and clubs were restricted on the numbers that they could have as customers across New South Wales. So it's so serious. Like a lot of these changes, they're making some relaxations, but if things go pear-shaped, then they will tighten it up again very quickly, and that will have dramatic effects on our industry, as it already has with the shutdown. So I think that's a key thing to remember as far as opting in there. It's almost mandatory without them actually saying that. So yeah. I'm just checking on the other comments there. Belinda's just said, thankful for getting the time to get them sorted. There's certainly been a lot of time, Belinda, which I certainly have been happy to do, but yeah, it's been full on as far as getting it done and even getting some updates. We're trying to even get some clarifications. A few people have raised some issues as we've gone along, and which has been really good because we've managed to communicate that to Sport and Rec as well. One of the ones I've been trying to get complete clarity on as well, which I haven't got it formally yet, but I'm trying to chase up as well, is when we talk about a client group, all the way along the way, we've said that includes the staff from the centre. So we said if we have a maximum of 100 per client group, it might be, let's say, 85 students, 5 teachers from that school, and possibly 10 instructors from the centre. So I've actually gone back and said, hang on, are our centre instructors included in that 100, because we're talking client group. So if we can get that, that actually bumps up the group size to the actual 100 from the client, and we'll see what we can get. But as soon as we know officially on that one, we'll certainly let you know. So that's another one that we're asking a question about. Holy mackerel, Tanya, you've sent a nice long message for me. So I'm just looking at Tanya's message, which everyone can see, that the school had been told by the department to ask the following questions, and there's a big list, and the health plan covers the questions, but wow. So it's a pretty good list of questions that that they've asked. It shows that they're concerned about it, I suppose, to actually asking those appropriate questions. And it's good to see that your operational plan covers off on those questions. But I guess at the same time, that they're pretty fair questions as far as additional duties and responsibilities for school staff. What happens if someone does get ill, and the likelihood of any change in costs and also changes to activities. So, and the reduction in numbers. The reduction in numbers, it depends on centre by centre, but if you can manage separate groups and keep them separate, then you shouldn't actually have to reduce your numbers depending on still on the accommodation and everything else. So that's an important one. I just saw Danny saying that feedback from teachers to leverage the CHO. I think the CHO's got enough things trying to leverage her at the moment. And we tried as hard as we could to get that change where we actually had it in our draft plan about having more than 100 if they came from the same school, and it got rejected. So I'm not, it's not that I'm not going in the bat for the industry, but I don't want to go in there and keep flogging a dead horse. And it's only gonna, when we do come to ask the question, if we just go in there and keep asking that question, they're gonna stop listening to us. So I need to pick my battles on this, and this is a hard condition they've put on us, and we need to accept it. I think if I go back in there and keep asking them to change it, they're gonna say, what aren't you listening to when we say no? So don't think I'm not trying, but that's just the situation we're at the moment. Just saw Andrew's comment again, same situation. It is no different in their context at school, except they're together for 24 hours a day when they're on camp, including they're allowed to, I think our industry plan is the only one that I know of with the relaxation of the 4 square metres when people are dining or in accommodation. So the tourism industry hasn't got that relaxation. And I think we need to actually appreciate the fact that we got that relaxation from the CHO in recognition of the situation we're in. The schools don't even have an industry plan. They've just been exempt from some of the restrictions. So the fact that we've got that relaxation on the 4 square metres, I think we should actually accept it, but the price we're paying for it is that limit of 100 people. So completely understand the comments there about schools reducing their numbers. I think, again, that's a price that's getting paid as we operate in a COVID environment, and I'm not sure what else I can say about that one. If anyone wants to speak to it, I'm happy to open it up, but yeah. Yeah, cool. I think, yeah, there is just another one I just got privately, but yeah, about further clarification on government websites. We've certainly been asking for that. Like, I've actually asked them to put up on their website the latest date that each industry plan has been updated. Because if you don't know that, if they just update the plan and no one knows it, you have to actually open the plan up and refresh your page to make sure you're looking at the latest version of every industry plan that applies to you. So I've actually suggested to them that they could easily just put in brackets after the file name, updated as at whatever day when they update each plan. And I don't know why they haven't done it. It seems easy to me. So certainly asking some questions about clearer information on websites. If we can make our website clearer, I'm sorry, Mark, but we can do that. Mark certainly does his best to keep it as clear as possible. At the same time, there's a lot of info on there which we're very aware of, so we need to make sure we manage the amount of information on there, but without leaving stuff off that people need. Just saw Gil's comment from Scouts about the buses and only half numbers on buses. So I think that's changing under their new version of the industry plan. I saw something from QTIC about buses recently, Gil, but I'm not sure whether that's come through yet. They might be proposing that to the Chief Health Officer and trying to get that restriction lifted, that relaxed, but I'm not sure if that's happened yet. But there's certainly some work going on in that space. But one bus company offered 2 buses for the price of 1, so it shows that they're trying to work with industry to accommodate there. Just moving on, I just wanted to speak quickly about the COVID safe events again. We spoke about this last week. So this is a document that QTIC had developed for the tourism industry, but applies just as much to outdoor events. These key public health principles and event-specific public health strategies are important to know about. So the roadmap that was released at stage 3 on, I think it was the 30th of June, that had some information about events with caps on if you're under 500 people at your event, if you're between 500 and 10,000, there was different rules, and if it was above 10,000, you had to get an event, COVID-safe event plan approved by the Chief Health Officer. Our industry plan actually overrides that. So our industry plan, when it's updated, hopefully it gets approved shortly, it'll have a specific section about events that says you can run an outdoor event following this industry plan and taking into account the public health principles and public health strategies in that in the COVID safe event framework that QTIC's published. So this is relevant whether it's a commercial event organiser, or it could be an event like Scouts organising a jamboree, something like that, whenever that might be. I know that Scouts have, for the moment, reduced the number of events that are being held significantly, but yeah, it's relevant to non-profit organisations that are running events too. So we're trying to organise a session with someone from the tourism industry development department, government department responsible for that. So we'll let you know once we've organised that session. I spoke about that last week, but we'll see where we get to with that too. So yeah, that's also a work in progress. And Mark's just shared that link for the framework. There's also on their website, check it out, there's a bit about the interaction between that framework and the industry plans. Pete's just shared ACU's cancelled outdoor ed courses across the nation in second semester. That is very sad news, Pete. And that will actually affect, I guess, the future graduates and potential for qualified instructors coming into our industry in the long term. So yeah, again, that's really disappointing, I suppose, as far as how you can, possibly, develop the skills that our industry needs, particularly when we've said for a long time about trying to enhance the professionalisation right across, particularly the outdoor ed sector. Yeah, it's a bit of a blow. So I'm hoping that other unis don't jump on board that same bandwagon, but I guess it's certainly a difficult time for the whole university sector too. So yeah, I guess we need to keep an eye on that one. The other thing that I've been just aware of recently, speaking about training and those sort of things, is also as far as RTOs getting placements for students, the RTOs who are still doing training, getting work experience placements for students. So it's another thing that's going to add some complexity to an already way too complex world. But just a reminder, it is important if you're running a centre, if you're able to have work experience students come to your centre, because the students can't get their qualification if they can't get the required work experience. So it is an important, I guess, service to the industry, and also as far as having future graduates with the appropriate qualifications. It's also a chance for you to have a look at some of the students coming through. But just a reminder, it is an important part of it. So some of the RTOs, apparently there's some people not so keen on having students on site at the moment, which is understandable, I guess, given the level of complexity that's going on out there. But I just wanted to just put it out there and say, look, it is something worth considering. And if there's ways of, trying to streamline that process, maybe we need to have a think about that collectively, even if someone wanted to speak about that in one of these sessions. And we could maybe even line up some of the RTOs to join these sessions on a Friday. Not sure if there is anyone, I think, as far as from the RTO world on today. Sorry, I should say registered training organisations. I slipped into acronym world, and I try not to do that. But yeah, maybe it's something we need to think about as far as if anyone has strong opinions on work experience opportunities at the moment, or whether it's just too hard. It's probably worth having a chat about that at some point. Does anyone want to speak to that? Anyone, particularly centre managers or other organisations? No, we might let that one float there in your minds for a little bit and see what we get. Yeah, I'll let everyone know once we line up this event session, we'll see what we can do on that one. So Gil just put a question there about a list, just comments from conversations I've had with people so far. So I sort of haven't done a full-on survey of the training organisations, but I just wanted to see how big a problem this is actually at the moment, and if it's going to be a real problem, then we might need to do something about it. But yeah, I don't have a list at the moment. So that's pretty much brought us through to the end of our session. I guess any big question, if there's any other matters or anyone wants to comment or speak more about any of those topics, but if there's anything else that even if things you'd like to hear discussed or you'd like to discuss in a future session, or even in the last few minutes we have left today, more than happy to throw that open to anyone to open the floor. I should say, I did forget to mention, in a couple of weeks' time, I think it's actually almost 4 weeks today, it's going to be, they somehow magically moved the AQIA show holiday to Friday the 14th of August in Brisbane. So I'm definitely going to be having a day off. I'm thinking that week, depending what's going on, we might have a break from our session because we don't want everyone drinking too much coffee and, you know, getting the palpitations or anything. So we might have a week off that week from coffee and conversation. But if there's a whole lot of important stuff going on that week, we'll probably organise it sometime for the Thursday and see what we can do. But that, just wanted to flag that the week of, I know it's only a Brisbane show holiday, but that happens to be where I'm standing right now. So yeah, so for the 14th of August, will probably be a no coffee and conversation unless there's outrage about such a plan. And then we'll certainly be back to normal broadcasting schedule, same back channel, etc. The following week. I might just pause and see if anyone wants to, any more questions. Oh, I saw Matthew's comment about the Victorian situation. I mean, it probably should have said earlier on, Matthew, our hearts certainly go out to everyone down in Victoria. I spoke to Andrew Knight, who's the CEO of Outdoors Victoria, this week, and they're certainly doing it tough down there. He said that it's quite interesting down there because it's really metropolitan Melbourne and a couple of other areas around Melbourne that is subject to the closures. And some of the other areas like Bendigo, Ballarat, Geelong, they're under very different, they're quite relaxed as far as COVID-19. So they're in a very unusual state down there at the moment. I mean, Victoria's always an unusual state, as anyone who's spent time there would know, but it's quite strange at the moment where there's outdoor ed centres that are operating outside of Melbourne if they've got schools coming from the other areas outside Melbourne. So there is still some operations going on down there. There's outdoor activities going on outside Melbourne, but the Melbourne people can't travel to do it. So it's very weird. Yeah. Just scrolling through.
Hey, Dom.
Yes.
David Maskell.
Yeah, David.
Just got a question. I've seen on social media that there's been a few wilderness first aid or maybe remote first aid courses have been up and running again. do you have any update from any of the two major players on how they're organising that, or if they're going to run any in the southeast?
Yeah, I've seen a little bit of that.
I'm unqualified to be in the field again because I don't have my qual anymore. It lapsed in at Easter.
I'm not sure if anyone.
Can I jump in here, Dom?
Yeah, Kelly, go for your life.
Hey, Dave. Graham ran one last weekend up the sunny coast. I will get him to give Dom a ring and get it out to you guys when he can do another one.
Was that for an organisation or was that advertised or?
No, it wasn't advertised. It was an in-house one. But this is about the third one he's run in the last couple of weeks. So I'll get him to give you a call, Dom, and then you can put it out.
Because I know that when we had a discussion inside the outhouse about this, it was seen that if you're based in Victoria, as I think at least one of the organisations are, the fly staff and equipment to Queensland was going to be prohibitively costly, and it would blow out the cost of WFA courses, and which are already not a cheap proposition for most of us in the field.
Yeah, we haven't advertised that we've actually become RTO status on that one, so that's why it hasn't been put out yet. Being based here in Brisbane and the sunny coast, possibly going to make it a lot easier for a lot of the operators as well as ourselves to make it more readily available.
Kelly, that'd be great if you want to get Graham to send us the details, even update your member page on our website, and we can certainly put a plug in when you guys are running those sessions. More than happy to do that through the what's on the section that's on our website, but also even just if you want us to mention it in these sessions, I'm happy to do that because it's something that so many people need at the moment. You know, especially
coming out of this year.
Yeah. So yeah, please, that'd be great if you can send us through some details. Obviously, anyone else too. We'll see if there's anyone else running those sessions. That's great. Tanya's just made a comment about the scariness of if JobKeeper does not get extended, how many businesses in our area are going to stay open. So I've actually put some feedback into government on that exact point. I know every industry is saying the same thing, but it doesn't hurt to add our voice to that, that the importance of JobKeeper to our sector, it can't be overstated at the moment. So we've actually put some comments in that'll go to the government about that exact point. And I just saw Andrew's just put a point there about, the JobKeeper extension for the Economic Committee of Treasury. There's the Australian Camps Association and Christian Venues Association are also doing some work on that as well, Australia-wide. So the JobKeeper program, it's been amazing really for so many different industries. It hasn't worked for all industries and they've copped a bit of flack on that. But yeah, the other one that's just come out this week was the, I'm sure they called it something keeper, the training stimulus package that the government released yesterday or the day before. And I haven't really got my head around that one yet, but it's certainly worth having a look at to see where we can get to on that. So yeah, there's certainly a lot of work to be done to make sure that all sorts of industries aren't just left in the lurch if they pull the rug out from under that program. Obviously, it's a bit scary, that one. I think they already have for early childhood centres are now off the list of eligible organisations for JobKeeper because they've removed the system that had about the free childcare. So it certainly is getting rolled back, and I guess that's a scary precedent. So certainly something we definitely need to keep our finger on the pulse of and keep our voice in the mix on it. So yeah. Is there any other comments or questions? If anyone has any topics that you really want to talk about in these sessions, you can just send me an email or give me a bell, have a chat. But yeah, we'll definitely keep on moving along with these sessions. I really appreciate everyone who attends the sessions. Actually, as I said, I had to do a report to government this week about the first 6 months, and we've done 14 of these sessions from March through till the end of June. And I had to give them some stats, and it was pretty impressive to see. You know, I think we had about 550 attendances, so not a lot of people reading the same ones all the way through, but it's great to see that we still have people turning up to contribute to these sessions and to hear what's going on from your colleagues. So much appreciated. Don't forget Inside the Outhouse on Monday, and we'll keep you informed if the industry plans get updated, which I'm hoping they will shortly. We'll certainly publicise that again through our website and our other channels. So thanks very much, everyone. Don't forget about that government funding opportunities. If you are interested, put your hand out and put your application in. I just, yeah, hope you all have a great week and look forward to seeing you again soon.